Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name is Austin Hardice, stars Olivia Holt and Mason Goody. A masked maniac with glowing red eyes returns every Valentine's Day to terrorize unsuspecting couples. Everything from the early reviews have been hyping this movie up to be like very terrifying and a lot of fun. And I've even had people that I know in my life coming out and telling me like, "Hey Austin, this movie is really good" and all of that. I'm like, "Okay, cool." I'm getting really excited to watch this movie, and I really liked the opening of this movie. Opening of this movie is what I was really going in for. It was just like ridiculous, over the top horror, fun, ridiculous amount of gore. Literally, it's like the opening is the best part about this whole entire movie. And I really like one of the kills in the movie that involve basically like I believe like it's a wine squeezer. I don't know what it's really called, but it's something that squishes to make liquid. That's the best way I can describe it as a 2-year-old apparent. But that was like the best kill and all of that. And it has its sometimes ridiculousness of like, being cliche tropiness where a character will trip or fall or, do something a little bit stupid. But you kind of give those kind of cliches and tropes like, a pass like a couple of times because it's a horror film. You have to have a couple of those. So the movie was really getting me going. I'm like, all right, let's go. And oh, okay. Stuff is actually happening now. So besides the opening part of the movie and certain sections of the movie, I found this movie to be horrendously boring as hell. I was all in for the description of this film where you have this mysterious killer that is like, has a king for killing couples on Valentine's Day. But most of the film is just characters just kind of just hanging out until something happens. Now, I get that you have to have some form of setup for these characters, but I don't care. It's like I didn't give a shit about any of the characters besides maybe Mason Gooding's character, really, because he was kind of somewhat relatable a moment for a few parts of the film. But Olivia Holt's character is so insufferably like annoying and unlikable because the movie spends like a good 30 minutes 20 to 30 minutes setting up her character and Mason's character as well, and I just didn't care. I came for expecting this film to be ridiculous like the opening was, but this movie was really trying to drive their characters, which I'm totally fine with. Like Scream has very interesting characters. It takes its time to build to each horrific moments with like Ghostface and all that. Totally fine with that. But the characters have to be interesting and the characters have to have reasonable dialogue. But our main lead here is so incompetent for her job. She's like kind of like a marketing like director in a way. Like she kind of like markets like jewelry. I'm stumbling on my words here. But she does it in the most graphic kind of horrific way as possible, where she is basically marketing past couples being murdered in films, or like couples dying in general in like old films, while you for the past 2 years been having this like this crazy killer that is going around every year on Valentine's Day killing couples. And I'm like, this is a smart way to promote your product. That you think that's smart? No, that's fucking stupid. And she really doubles down. I'm like, no, it's really good. I'm like, not the point of it's not good timing. I don't even think promoting death with jewelry is a good marketing way in general. So it's not good overall. So it's not good timing, and it's just not a good way to promote your product. For one, she's an idiot and sucks at her job, but she also hates her job. So I guess it makes sense. If you suck at something, it makes sense that you hate it. But again, I don't know how you get in that position and suck at your job, but then end up hating it. I don't know how you can go down that rabbit hole. And so the movie really wants to focus on her dating life and all that. It's a romance, so I allow it. There's like this ex-boyfriend that she has that she dumped, and it's like, okay, why did you dump this guy? Like, was he a terrible person or anything, or were you just nervous for commitment? You don't really know. The only form of character development that you really get is that she finds love to be BS because her parents had a rough relationship when she was growing up. So that's like the only reason. It doesn't really connect at all into her own dating life. Does she have the similar issues? It doesn't. Like she ends up being jealous with when her ex-boyfriend has a girlfriend, which by the way has zero involvement in this film. They pop up for like 2 seconds, and her ex-boyfriend, her new girlfriend, and his new girlfriend actually knew the couple at the beginning of the film. And it's like, okay, so that means like you guys are connected to the killer in some form of way. Nope. They disappear after the whole entire movie, and it's like, but why even bring that up as a subplot then? It's like, why even mention it? It's like a lot of character setup in this movie with characters that don't even have any form of involvement in this movie. I'm banging into my shelf. Like she has like a best friend in the movie, and she has like zero involvement in this whole entire movie. The movie just wastes its time to set these things up and does nothing with them. And suddenly we're in this like weird ass murder chase sequence with Hard Eyes and with our two main leads of Olivia and Mason. And so I'm kind of like thinking like, okay, cool, something's actually happening, but why did we waste our time setting these things up with these characters if they're not going to have any involvement in the whole entire movie? But when the movie actually kind of gets going, that's kind of where it gets entertaining. But then our main lead, being a dick of a character that she is, you can't really root for her at all, because either she's stupid and doesn't really doesn't really make smart decisions, or she just straight up abandons you. Like literally she straight up abandons Mason's character, and he calls her out for it. I'm like, yeah, I agree, I'd be pissed too. It's like, you abandoned me. And like, the movie doesn't really give you a reason to like her. Now she kind of has some form of redemption moments throughout the film, but they're so minor and like meaningless. And it's like, okay, all right, you did something cool, and they try to give her like a resolution to her character, like, but they all throw it in one exposition dump, and it's later on in the film to the point where I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm already checked out. I just want to see characters get brutally murdered at this point, in which you kind of somewhat do. But even Hard Eyes, the killer, doesn't follow his own morals or anything. Like at the beginning of the movie, there's a line delivery from a certain character saying, like, setting up the character from setting up the killer's character, saying like, oh, he only goes after couples, and it's a kink. But if you do get in his way, he will kill you. But then later on in the movie, he just starts killing a bunch of random people that have no involvement or not even getting in his way. So it's like, okay, so you're not really interesting at all. And weirdly enough, the movie tries to slightly add a mystery element, like, oh, like, who's the killer? I'm like, it's you. Like, it's you. Don't. And like, as soon as this certain character popped up on screen, I'm like, it's 100% you. There'd be it's that fucking obvious. It's this particular person. It just didn't really make any sense to have, because there wasn't like a central group of characters to basically have that mystery game of like, oh, it's like, is it you? Is it you? It's just like, it kind of fell out of nowhere. Like a lot of things in this movie's really all over the place. The jokes in this movie aren't really funny, and this movie's trying to be like a dark comedy. They even make a joke towards Fast and the Furious, which you have the actor that plays Mia in this movie, because they name her character in her she plays like a cop in this movie, who has very little involvement. She plays a cop, and she has a partner as well in the movie, and they are both named Hobbs and Shaw, and they try to make like a fourth wall breaking of like the movie, like Fast and the Furious. I'm like, this is kind of fucking random. Why? I get that she's in those movies, but that clearly shows that these movies exist in this universe. So I guess she's just not in those movies at all in this universe. It was just random. It doesn't make any sense, and it came from a character that also doesn't have that form of setup of to be like making those jokes. It's just like, oh, okay. I'm gonna give Hard Eyes a D plus overall. Whenever there are kills in the movie, it was actually fun. I did really like the opening. Even the final showdown was pretty cool to a degree. It's just that I didn't care about any of the characters. My biggest issue with this movie is that there's so much setup to a lot of these characters involving the killer that they don't really actually follow through with any of it. It's just like it doesn't really, like, characters just disappear when they have actual some form of crucial tie to what's going on. But then they just disappear and like whatever. See ya. It's like, okay, why did we waste our time setting this up? Like, why even bother? So overall, the movie just kind of just fell flat for me. I didn't really care about anything, and I would rather just watch Scream because it's that's what this movie tries to be anyway. So it's like, why not watch the better thing over what is trying to be a simple copycat but worse of it? So that's just how I feel. That's my opinion. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Do you disagree? Most likely, a lot of you guys will probably disagree because overall, on both sides of, like, for critics and audiences, both have been really loving it, which is cool and all. I just don't get it. A lot of writing issues I find with this movie. It really tries to make you want to actually care about the characters themselves, but none of the setup has any form of payoff. So it's like, why should I care? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys next review. Bye, guys.